Hello and a very warm welcome to you. Seeing as we're having a bit of a funny old year in 2020 so far, and I'm not going to be doing any trade shows for the foreseeable future, I thought I would set up a pretend trade show in my kitchen and invite you all in. So wherever you are in the world, you can get to have a visit to my shop. And the advantage of doing this is that I can bring Jack along. Jack doesn't normally get to travel to shows with me because, despite what you see on camera, he's not particularly well behaved, especially when sheep are involved. So he usually has to stay at home. So it's a special treat that you get to see my shop all set up and Jack here with me helping you do your shopping. One of the first products that I developed for my shop was my little wooden brooches, and at the moment I have 17 different breeds of sheep available. They're based on the cutest or the most popular knitters and crocheters breeds of sheep. I also have alpaca and a little Jack. That's my one that I'm modelling for you today. So these are made in the UK by Provenance Craft Company. I send them the illustrations and they laser cut them for me. They're actually laser cut out of solid beech wood, unlike a lot of laser cut products which are made from plywood. So they have a kind of more solid, more substantial feel to them, and it means that they smell wonderful. They have this lovely gentle scent of wood smoke about them. So once they've been laser cut, they come back to me and I do the finishing. I stick on the brooch backs, pop them into these little boxes and nestled into their little fibre beds with a sticker on top to tell you who's who. And I like to wear them with my different knitted garments, showing off what breed I'm wearing. So I have a Shetland for my Shetland jumper and a Jacob for my Jacob jumper and so on. But my Jack brooch I like to wear with pride almost all the time. My most popular products by far at shows are always my tea towels, so I thought I'd get a couple of those out and show them to you. First things first is my British Sheep Breeds tea towel, which covers all of the breeds currently recognised by the British Wool Marketing Board. And they're grouped by the way that their wool is categorised. So fine wool, mountain wool, medium grade wool, naturally coloured wool, and the downland breeds as well. And I had so much fun making this illustration. I also have it available as prints and posters, but by far the tea towel is the most popular, and I think that's because it's useful. I've seen people not only use it as a tea towel, but I've seen somebody convert it into a spinning apron, and a few people have made them into project bags as well. So it's nice to see this tea towel getting lots of love. The other tea towel in my range is my Woodland Friends design, and that features an illustration that I made last year of various British animals in the woods engaging in their fibrecraft projects. And it's worth saying that all of my tea towels are sewn and printed in the UK by a lovely company that I've been working with ever since I started making and selling my products. So it's really, really nice to work with them. And this one is actually on unbleached cotton. The British sheep breeds are on a bright white cotton, but this one is on a kind of natural unbleached cotton base. Also in my British Sheep Breeds range, I have the cushion covers, which are screen printed and sewn in the UK by the same people that make my tea towels. And they come as a pair or individually, but if you get the pair, then you get all of the British Sheep Breeds. There's half on one cushion and half on the other, and they're laid out alphabetically, so you can pick out your favourites or learn the different breeds. And the final British Sheep Breeds product is my bunting kits. I originally designed the bunting just for decorating my stand, but lots of people asked about it, so I made it available as a little craft kit. All you need to do is grab a needle and a pair of scissors, cut out the triangles, and you can make your own British sheep breeds bunting. It's got 10 different breeds on there. I have a few different publications on my stand, the first of which is a little collection of comics called More Than Yarn. And this is an assembly of all comics and illustrations that I've made on the theme of knitting, most of which were previously published in Pom Pom Quarterly magazine, and there's a few pieces in here that haven't been published anywhere else as well. So it's quite a unique collection, and they cover themes such as knitting and mental health, and my relationship with my grandma who taught me how to knit. There's one in there about how empowering it is to learn to make your own clothes. So all kinds of different features that I hope knitters will be able to relate to. And there's lots of different styles of illustration in here. I was really in an experimental phase in my career, so I was trying out lots of different new things. So this is a really fun zine to see lots of different sides of my work. I have paper patterns for my Scruffed cardigan design. That's one you might have seen before, and that has pockets with dogs on, and it comes with lots of different breeds, so you can make your pockets look like your own dog or your favourite dog. So the paper pattern doesn't include all of those charts, but it does have a download code so that you can access the entirety of the content of the pattern. But there's something about having a paper pattern that you can just stuff in your knitting bag that I really appreciate. And it also means that you get a paper copy of the fun illustrations that I did to go with the Scruffed cardigan. Now, normally for shows, I don't bring along copies of my graphic memoir, Lighter Than My Shadow, and that is because it weighs nearly 2 kilos. It's enormous, and I just assume that people do not want to carry a copy of this around a trade show, or indeed home from a trade show. But the last few times I've been, there's always been 1 or 2 people who've asked, so I've started taking along a couple of copies with me. So Lighter Than My Shadow is a memoir that I wrote about my struggles with eating disorders and sexual abuse and recovery, and it is a fully illustrated graphic memoir, 500 pages of illustrations that I did by hand. It took me about 5 years from start to finish. It was a major project, and I'm really proud of it. But it always feels weird kind of having it alongside my cute sheep illustrations and tea towels and stuff. But nonetheless, it is part of me and part of my work, so I always have 1 or 2 copies of this available on my stand for anybody who is brave enough to carry it home. One of the smallest, but I think sweetest ones of my products is the little Yarn Crafters notebook. Now, this is just a tiny notebook that is designed to be the right size to shove in your project bag, and it has rounded corners so they don't get too dog-eared in there. I designed it with proportional graph paper squares, so if you want to design colourwork charts, the squares are a little bit squatter than they are long, so it will give you a more clear idea of how your knitting chart will look, rather than square squares, which when you translate it to knitting, it can mean that your design looks a bit squished. So there's proportional graph paper, 64 pages of that, and then at the front and back there's various conversion tables. There's a gauge ruler in inches and in centimetres, and crochet hook sizes, needle size conversions, that kind of thing. And the front and back cover design is based on my illustration Oh the Potential, which first appeared in Pom Pom Quarterly. They released it as a limited edition print, which is now sold out. So it's nice to be able to put that favourite image to good use again in these little notebooks. As an illustrator, I've always wanted to be able to have enamel pins in my shop, but I really like to have my products made as locally as possible. So it wasn't until I found a UK manufacturer last year that I was happy to get some enamel pins made. I actually got two designs. Firstly and most obviously, I had to get an enamel pin of Dear Little Jack, and secondly I got a lichen fancier pin for everybody who appreciates looking at the tiny details and the magnificent mini landscapes of lichens as much as I do. One of the newest additions to my shop is my British Sheep Breeds ribbon. This is one I'm really proud of. Like everything else, it's printed in the UK, and it features, let's see, 6 different British sheep breeds, prizes if you can identify which ones they are, repeating along the length of the ribbon. So it's an unbleached cotton ribbon and the sheep are printed in black. And my idea with it was that you could use it to stitch down the steeks of your knitting projects and cardigans. But I've seen people use it in like scrapbooking projects or for gift wrapping, all kinds of things. Yeah, I'm really proud to have been able to add this lovely ribbon to the shop. I am perhaps proudest of all to be able to offer my range of rubber stamps. These are made in collaboration with the English Stamp Company. They're based in Dorset and they manufacture stamps from my illustrations. They're mounted on solid wooden handles. They're made with a synthetic rubber, which is more environmentally friendly than a natural rubber because of the fewer chemicals that are used in the manufacturing process. And they are a lovely company to work with. I've been working with them for several years now, and the quality of their products is just fantastic. So my vision with the stamps was to create rubber stamps for fibre crafters, so knitters, spinners, crocheters, also people who sew, to have stamps to show off and enhance their finished products. So for making labels, for gift tags, that kind of thing. And I'm really pleased with how all of these designs turned out. I also recently added a collection of mini 1-inch stamps which feature little bits of nature. I've got toadstools, acorns, oak leaves, and some small animals as well that have been really popular little additions to the collection. Thank you so much for joining me for this little virtual tour around my shop. If you've got any questions about any products, feel free to drop me a comment, send me an email, contact me on Etsy, whichever way you want to get in touch. I'm here to answer your questions and help you out. If you want to find the products, they're in my Etsy shop. Just search for Katie Green, that's Katiegreen, and you'll find everything there. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed this virtual tour.